What's up, everyone, and welcome to Design and Dialogue. I am your host, Jackie Clark, and today I am chatting with the beautiful Simone Kendle, co founder and CMO of Parfait. Simone, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. So, first things first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally a military brat. So I lived all overseas, went to college though in Texas. So I went to University of North Texas, shout out to UNT. But then I ended up getting my MBA at Wharton. That's where I studied entrepreneurship, marketing, and that's where I met my co-founder, Iso, for Parfait. And so I spent a lot of my time between college and my MBA working at Capital One, where I built skills in customer experience analysis. I worked with the bank leadership team to make sure that every experience that we had in the bank, whether it was on the phone, in a branch, or online, that we were treating them with the utmost respect and really giving them products that they deserved. And so I was really doing that for my day-to-day, 9 to 5. But my 5 to 9 was really selling wigs and extensions. For 5 years, I ran my own business where I was the everything. I was posting on Instagram, I was dealing with vendors, I was coloring hair, making wigs, all the above, really bringing my beauty passion to life. But I knew that I needed some really more help in learning how to scale a business. And that's what led me to going to Wharton. And so when I got to Wharton, I was still thinking, oh, I'll go back to corporate America. I'll sort of ride that ladder. But when I met Iso and learned about her idea, which was really bringing technology into wigs, customization, specifically creating lace that looks and feels like our skin, and partnering with her sister to do that, I just couldn't pass up. And so I've been with Parfait, previously Hair Intelligence, that was our name before our rebrand, but have been with Parfait since, May 2021, and we've been building the business ever since.
I love that. You said a few things that I just loved. You said, you're 9 to 5 and then you're 5 to 9. I think that's such an understated terminology. People don't realize that, yes, you have your 9 to 5, but then when you come home to the hustle, you have your 5 to 9. So I thought that was amazing. For those who don't know, what is Parfait?
Yeah, Parfait is an AI powered custom wig platform. So, with 4 selfies, we can detect your skin tone and your head size. What that allows us to do is create a custom wig that fits your exact measurements from your head depth, hair underneath, all of that with just 4 selfies. And we'll also make that wig match your skin tone. So, we're specifically choosing a lace tint that is fit for your skin tone and pre-cutting and pre-plucking that lace for the most natural look ever.
Amazing. And I want to ask, you said you were hair intelligence before. I
Yeah.
love that kind of lining with the AI. So where did you get Parfait? Because when I think Parfait, I think Sundays, I'm thinking
Yes.
real sweet food. So how did you guys come up with the name?
Yeah, no, Parfait came from a real brand journey. We partnered with a really awesome guy who he worked at Nike for forever, but really around creative solutions and thoughts around design and naming and all these things to really open our minds up to, if we're going to leave Hair Intelligence in the past, what is another name that's going to represent our brand on multiple layers? And literally, that's where Parfait came from. Because if you think about a parfait, it is multi-layered, unique recipe for anybody. You can have a savory one, you can have a sweet one. There's no standard quote or sort of how you're supposed to make a parfait. And parfait means perfect in French. And so when you think about building your own experience when it comes to your wig, if you want it short, long, blonde, black, whatever you want, it's just perfect for you. And so everything we do is around creating the best personalized experience for anyone that shops with us. And we use AI to do it, which, if you notice, Parfait also has AI in it.
Y'all are very smart individuals. You guys really thought that out. And what I love, this whole conversation is about design and dialogue and the dialogue around designing a brand. And
Yeah.
I just like you broke that down so seamlessly. Like I'm not looking at the word parfait. I'm like, oh, there's AI in it.
There's
Like
AI in there.
all little details. I mean, that is extremely clever branding. So congratulations to you guys on that. So can you tell me how Parfait started? And then, I know you dived into it a little bit earlier, but how you really got involved with the brand and why did you choose that this is something you wanted to develop your time into?
Yeah, I mean, it really started with my co-founder Iso, our CEO. She has been dealing with hair loss really since she was 10 years old. She was one of the only Black women in her, second grade class, and wanted a relaxer. And like many of us, when we go get our first relaxer, doesn't go very well. And she lost all of her hair from that experience. And so she's really been navigating this world of wigs and weaves, braids, everything since then. And so she's had 20 plus years of really trying to figure out, what will look natural on me as a protective style as I regrow my natural hair, but also will make me feel like I can go into any room and feel my best self without, being a stylist, right? Knowing how to do all these little tips and tricks to make your wig look right. And so she had this deep passion. Her background was at Amazon and Microsoft. She really learned a ton about really optimized fulfillment and logistics strategies. And then she called her sister, who just so happens to be a fifth year MIT PhD. And so focusing on computer vision. And so she really connected with her sister to say, hey, look, is there a way that we can bring technology into making these wigs better, for better solutions for women who look like us, who live the lives like we do, who don't necessarily have a stylist who's going to make them, that custom look every day. And so for me, what really pulled me to it was the exact issue that ESO suffered from was something I saw my mom deal with as a Black woman, trying to go through her own sort of journey of, traction alopecia, and then actually dealing with breast cancer and going through chemo. She's luckily still here, thank God. But
Good.
even as a Black woman, right, who's been in this world of hair, weaves, extensions, all of that, she too had a problem finding a wig that looked really nice, felt really comfortable, and she could depend on every single day to look how she expected it to look. And so my time really seeing her go through that, my time actually having my own wig business really led me to say, okay, this is really the place I can bring both of my sort of superpowers together. This deep understanding of what customers are feeling in this wig market from my own personal experiences, my mom's, my friends, my family, but then also marrying that with the corporate training that I've had for the last, 10 years at that point, where I was really looking deep into customer data, understanding how to really build products that gear toward actual customer problems and not just things that we might want to have one day. And so I think the synergy of those two things, coupled with Iso's background of that heavy fulfillment, understanding of that world, and knowing how to get you that product in 5 to 7 business days, and then Ifueco's just technology brain of just beautiful. Like, we are able to build all of this in-house with Black women at the center of everything we build. And that really is what makes our products unique, is that we're actually the customer building these things, and the AI, the computer vision, is at the top of the line compared to any other tech business that's out there. But now we have us building it this time.
I love that. And that's really, it's a purpose driven brand, is what it sounds like to me. Like there's a real purpose for not just aesthetics, but for confidence, for, just comfortability and having things that represent how we naturally feel.
Yep.
But I really, really, really love that. So you talked a little bit about, your uniqueness. So I wanted to ask you a little bit more. How do you guys differ from other brands in the industry, and what unique value do you offer your customers?
Yeah, I mean, it's on a couple of different layers, and we'll keep saying layers this whole conversation. But on the first step is really our secret sauce is that technology. With 4 selfies, we can create that custom wig for you, right? And so, in order to do that, you have to have a really rich data set of people who look like us. Which, if you know anything about the AI world, there's not a lot of women in that data set, and there's not a lot of Black folks in that data set. And so, when we thought about, if we could solve a core problem in this wig industry with technology, which one is it? And it really was fit. So we really focused on making sure that we could create a technology that could help each of these wigs fit our customer base and our community in the best way possible. So that's number one. Then you have the fulfillment side, right? So you can go shop for a custom wig in a couple of different ways. Usually we'll go to our local stylist who will help us with it, or we'll order it online from a particular stylist that maybe isn't in our area, but is usually a stylist who has deep expertise in wig making. But the problem with those two options is, one, you may not have that stylist in your local area, which is how I was for a long time. Maybe you move for work, or you're just like in a predominantly white area that does not have the salon that can serve you in the way that you want to, right? And so you're missing that sort of partner in your hair journey. Or if you do order that custom wig from that person, somewhere else, it can take 3 to 6 weeks to get to you. It often costs an extremely high amount compared to the goods that you're actually buying, because that is a very boutique sort of service. And so what we've done is really bring that boutique service and married it to actually just a regular e-commerce site where you can go, click a few buttons, place your order, and then it's delivered to you within a week. And so we pulled all that together. So you've got your custom, but you also have that mass access to where you can actually come shop on the site. We're based in the US, so there's humans you can talk to, which is a whole other part of our business model. Is we all wanted that partner in our hair journey, right? And so if we don't have a stylist in our area, Parfait customers can come and speak to Parfait stylists. So the ladies who are making our wigs every day in Dallas, Texas, are doing free virtual consultations before your purchase or after your purchase. So before your purchase, if you're like, hey, I don't know what a closure is, I don't know what a frontal is, I need a little bit of help, we'll talk to you for however long you need, however many virtual consults you need to make a really good decision for yourself. But then we will also do it as many times as you need after your purchase. So if you need help putting it on for the first time, if you need help on, okay, what glue do I buy if I'm going to do this, or what, we have all of that support for you at Parfait. And so it's really that end-to-end support that is done by Black women for the community. We prioritize Black women, but literally we have customers from all over the place, but really making sure that you are taken care of. There's always a human willing to talk to you. And again, you're getting something that's custom fit to you in a half or even quarter of the amount of time that you would get from anybody else.
That is crazy, because I like crazy in a good way, because I'm like, from 4 selfies you guys could tell me what kind of hair color I should have, what style, like, I mean, the intelligence behind that's amazing. But one of the things I love that you said, because AI, chat GPT, AI has just kind of like blown up. I know it's been around for a while,
Yeah,
but it's more newer to us regular folks, and
definitely.
it's getting there. But what I loved is that even though you are an AI driven brand, you are or an AI frontal brand, I should say, no pun intended on the frontal, but that you are human driven. Because one of the
100%.
comments I've been seeing lately, just in my research on AI and conversations, is that, is AI taking the human out of the business? So I love that you guys still have a very huge human presence.
Yep.
I think that's so key, because everything is automated now. I don't know about you guys, I'm in Canada, and
Mhm.
we have a lot of self-serve grocery
Mhm.
stores now. You just go and check out yourself. There's like not that many, and I know it's all over now, but it's not that many, customer to employee to customer
Yeah.
engagement. So I love that you guys still have that. You talk
Mhm.
about that you guys, so everything is made US based, like.
Yeah, yep, yep. So we source our raw materials from overseas, and
Mm,
we have our inventory and warehouse space in Dallas, Texas. And so our team here is the one that's actually creating all of the wigs. We're doing all of the color. We have a team of licensed cosmetologists who are doing that. So like this color I have is like a really beautiful sort of melted aesthetic that we have. And that's how you can get it. You can't get this from a machine. I mean, not today, maybe in the future, but that's where you kind of start to see that there are strides that AI is making, right? Like our ability to be able to take 4 selfies and size you and make sure that the lace tint is right, that is AI working for us. But our stylists are still so necessary to make sure that, hey, did the AI get it right? Number one, because it doesn't always get it right because of the lack of data of people like us in the AI sort of world. And so we are constantly making sure that we are pulling that data to make it better for all of our customers. But you're also seeing that it's human centered design, right? So the AI is there to give the information to our stylists to be able to actually create what your customer wants, right? And so I think today we're in the journey for sure of bringing more and more AI technology to every stage of this business, but there's something about having a human touch, right? When you talk about something as sentimental as your hair, it's something that people look at every day, and you feel, you feel sensitive and fragile when your hair is off. I mean, when you're late, when you can see your lace, you feel uncomfortable. We've had to break that down to so many. When we were raising money, we had to break down, what that feeling was like for customers and why it's such a huge issue. We were often pitching to, white men or people who've never worn a wig, and we would have to say, the example is, How would you feel if you had the biggest presentation of your life and you walked in with sweat stains and a wrinkled shirt and had to go and present, the biggest presentation of your life? That's how women feel every single day when their wig is sliding back in at their job, when you can clearly see their lace, when they're going through a chemo or some sort of really personal experience that maybe they don't want everybody to know about, but now they feel self-conscious because their hair is not what it used to be and they're trying to find a wig to match it. There's so many emotional ties to this product, right? And so again, that's where this human-centered design has to be, because we always have to make sure that we're thinking about the psychology and the feeling and the emotion of our customers to make sure that we're finalizing that wig to meet their needs at the end of the day. AI is a tool, computer vision is a tool, but humans still have to make, final decisions, strategic decisions to create great customer services and experiences.
Absolutely. And I love that you really rounded that out for us, because that's so true. Like, it is a tool, and if you know how to use that tool, it will definitely benefit you, but there's
Totally.
still a human element. You said something that I wanted to touch on, because one of the questions we get asked before for this conference, prior to, was about investors and pitching. And a lot of people have these brands, but they don't know how to have conversations with investors. Can you talk to us a little bit, without giving I know, classified information, but can you talk to us a little bit about how you guys went about, reaching out to investors or having that conversation, or what was your first step in
Yeah.
the investor relations?
Yeah, I mean, number one, it's tough. So if it's tough for anybody, that's to be expected. Like it's not easy for anyone. And I think sometimes when you see the, headlines of so and so raised $2 million or so and so raised $10 million, it feels like it was easy for them, but it's just because you didn't see behind the scenes. And so, for us, Iso talks a lot about her first pitches. She got 49 no's until she got a yes. And those 49 meetings were grueling, right? You're so excited. Every meeting, you think right before the meeting, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one. And then it doesn't happen, right? And that still happened, after our first check. It still happened in between. It's a never ending sort of space where you're always trying to convince somebody that your idea is as amazing and big as you believe it is. But oftentimes, especially for, beauty brands or women based, sort of ideas, right? Like, most of the people we're pitching to are men, so they've never actually felt what it's like to be that customer. And so oftentimes they're, especially early on, they are investing in things that they can understand and they can scale, right? And then there's also that factor of like, at what scale? So you may have an amazing business, but it doesn't necessarily need venture capital. It may actually just need a few friends and family or angel investors to give you a few $100,000 to just get you off the ground, because you will have a cash flow, positive business after that point. And so it's really thinking about, number one, what investors are you even interested in? Like, where do you think the output of your business really should be, at what stage? And if you avoid VC to the very end, you get to keep more equity, and you get to keep sort of people who are going to be, your friends, family, angels. They're very supportive and very open to timelines and product launches. And so they're going to buy into the purpose and the people first, right? And that's the easiest to do with people in your community who know you, who have watched you grow, who have been in your, career sort of network or friend network or parents or church. But really trying to gravitate to those people who understand your problem. Those are going to be the easiest pickings in terms of investor dollars. When it comes to pitching, traditional VC, it is really about having a super tight deck that gets to the point as soon as possible. You have to tell them within the first 30 seconds why you're here, why it's big, and why you're the right person to blow up this market. If they don't feel that energy in the first 30 seconds, they're going to tap out. So you have to make sure that your pitch deck really grabs the attention and has all the energy really up front. So you can then use that and ride that wave the whole pitch. Not everybody's going to get it, but every time you sort of position yourself as, why me, why this product, why is this market huge, is going to be your best bet, at least to get the first meeting to the second meeting, because there's multiple meetings. So really thinking about, how do I hook them in? And then we can get to the details later on the second call, the third call, what have you, but really being clear about why you and why product and why the market. And then I would say the last thing is, ask for feedback as much as you possibly can. Every investor that we had that we didn't actually invest, we asked for feedback, and we did take that feedback and adjust our pitch. And sometimes we agreed with the feedback, sometimes we didn't. But either way, that focus on making sure that we were improving our pitch every time and not just sort of going out with one message was really critical for us. An example of that was we were pitching a particular sort of narrative early on, and then we got really great feedback from a few investors, some who had invested, some who didn't. And then we completely shifted how we described the problem, right? And that started to get us the momentum. So it may be that, your pitch deck is evolving and just you need to seek feedback for that. And so, ideally, you wouldn't have to get all of that feedback from just people you want money from. You can get feedback from your classmates, from people, who are business owners in your area, online. One of the best places, though, to get really great pitch feedback is through accelerators. There are tons of amazing accelerators and programs these days, whether they're industry agnostic or, they're for women, they're for people of color. One that is Visible Hands, which was one of our first accelerators and super phenomenal supporters. Shout out, they have cohort 3 that's open now, so you can go apply. They're giving out $200,000 and support end to end to either if you need help finding your co-founder or just really like getting your idea optimized for fundraising. They help with everything. We were in their cohort, I think it was, 2021, 2022. They still help us to this day. So there are really awesome accelerators out there that have that programmatic approach that can really also give you some awesome feedback just to help you through, that journey. It's not easy. So just don't expect it to be easy. And at least you are, ready for the next stage.
I mean, I was trying to look at you, but I was taking a whole lot of notes at the same time. Because
is this going to be on replay? Can people watch it?
Okay, take your notes, you guys, because like you could do a whole masterclass on just that. Like, you are such a wealth of amazing knowledge, and like you were saying things, and what's one of the things that really stuck out to me is you talked about, everybody thinks of investors and angel investors, especially in business, as yes, they are a lot of white men, older white men in these positions, but we forget they are your customer, they are your neighbors, they are your friends, they are people who actually buy into your business. That can actually start with some of the funding, and one of the things, the overall arching thing I took away from what you just said was spend that time in your business. I think a lot of us creatives, we get so excited on the creative side of our business, and we want to get to the design, we want to get to the product, we want to get to that, but we forget the business of minding our own business.
Yeah.
And that's something I know I'm struggling with my own business, because you're so far in it. So if anyone's listening, there's a lot you talked about, even from the pitch deck side. I do a lot of decks myself for clients, and I tell people your first 7 slides are the most impactful, but your opening statement, your elevator pitch, your 30 seconds to Oprah is the biggest thing. And then your first 7 are the driving forces. So I loved everything you said. But now, you spoke a little bit about challenges. Can you talk about some of the challenges you faced in building a purpose-driven business and how you guys have overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Obviously, entrepreneurship is tough all day, every day. I think for us, what we struggled with, I think initially, was just sort of creating everything from scratch while we also were trying to serve customers. Like, that's hard. There are going to be, gaps in, order flow, and gaps in sort of documented processes that you're going to run into that, as much as we were excited to launch and get everything out there, there was still tons to learn. And so I remember there was a point where we had worked so long and hard raising the money, and then we finally launched April 2022. And I remember up until April 2022, it was just like, we just have to get to April. We just have to get to April. We just have to get to April. But then April comes, it's like, well, now you got to run a business. Now you actually have to deal with every single inquiry. You get thrown a curveball with a customer asking for something, and you're like, can we do that? Can we not do that? And we tried it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You launch products that you think are going to be great, and you realize, oh, only I liked that, nobody else liked that product, And so really being thoughtful about understanding, okay, what's working and what's not with the information you have at each time. And so for us, we learned really quickly that, when we start to see signals of something not working exactly right, you have to go in there and you have to pay attention and pivot. And that's okay to do it. But that level of attention to detail is real, because you don't want the customer to find your issue. You want to find your issue, right? You don't want your customer saying, hey, I ordered a wig that was supposed to be black, but it's brown, and you realize, oh, it's because our system is like little stuff like that, where it's hard. You're literally driving the boat and building it at the same time, and that's the hardest thing. Those growing pains are hard. I think the other aspect too is just making sure that your team feels whole during those harder times, right? When they don't have all the resources that a Capital One would give them when they onboard, or they don't have written down sort of do this if that happens, or this, it's like, oh, we've never even seen step 2 or 3 after this. So you're going to help us create what we do when this situation happens, when it arises. And, the good part about that is we are allowed to bring our team in, and everybody's a process manager, right? Everybody's optimizing what we do. Everybody on the team has an impact of making this experience as great as it possibly can be. And so as you're doing that, right, and I think for us, we launched in April, but the holiday season, phenomenal sales, but boy, did it blow up our operation. Like, we weren't ready, we weren't ready for the demand. And so I think, as entrepreneurs, we're always sort of planning for the worst case scenario, like if nobody comes, but for us, it was like, well, what if everybody comes? And so then we had to really start thinking about fail safes, right? All the little gaps and cleaning them up. So I think, some of that is to be expected, but no matter what, it's on you as an entrepreneur to be so deep into your business and deep into your team, where if something pops up, it's not a place where anyone's being blamed, or it is, hey, okay, cool, got an learn lesson. Okay, what are we going to do next? How are we going to improve this? How are we going to codify this to make sure that we have the right response at the right time and can get this customer what they need the fastest way possible? How do we then be proactive about those scenarios? So like now, ops sort of blew up after our huge, holiday, which was a good problem to have, right? But now we're stabilized. We implemented new processes, new team structures to make sure that we didn't have those issues again. And so now, we're moving on. And so I think like it's a journey. And even though, like I said earlier, it's easy to see someone raise 2 million or 100,000 or whatever and think, oh, they're rolling in dough and everything's fine. Absolutely not. We still have to run the business. And so it's really that attention to detail, building the right team, and just caring about everything going as humanly possible, great as it possibly can be. And that's where our day-to-day is spent, is just trying to, solve the little fires so we can, keep going and serve more customers.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things I think people need to realize too, somebody might have got that $2-3 million, but that's a loan essentially. These investors want a return on their investment, a return on
Absolutely.
engagement with a percentage. So yeah, you might have got 2 million, but you got to make 5 to make
Yep.
sure you
Yep.
can give it back and have a surplus to continue the business. So
Yep.
excuse me.
Yep.
I love that you talked about that. Now, I know we got to wrap up a little bit, but I want to talk about social media because we know social is like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
How do you guys leverage social and other marketing channels to promote Parfait, and what strategies have been the most effective for you guys?
Oh yeah, social's everything. I mean, as a beauty brand, we have to be on social media. We have to garner trust with our customers, especially a beauty brand that's over, $100. Like, you really have to cultivate trust, and it's a considered purchase, right? Like, we don't just buy hair from anywhere. We need to see a ton of photos, videos, somebody else wearing it, all these things to make us feel like, okay, we're going to be solid in making this investment for ourselves. So social is huge for that. We use social to just grow our community generally, getting the word out about who Parfait is, interacting with them. We also do it to showcase products. So we do, weekly lives showing different products that we're about to send out to people. That's a really great sales channel for us. We use it for tutorials, customer education. There's so many times where I usually use my personal social media to create different like quick tutorials, or like show how unbelievable some of these wigs are, right? Like this wig, this is a glueless wig. I'm just wearing it, right? I'll do that on my social media. And
It's
that's how Yeah, and that's how we have really been able to grow. And so really showing the ease and the that you can do this too and have a wig that looks like this out of the box. So we use that for tutorials, showcasing product, building community, talking with our community, whether that's in the comments, on lives. But it's a really big part of our business and how we're sort of keeping the eyeballs on us. Instagram is our main babe right now, but TikTok is coming. We have been slowly but surely growing that platform. YouTube has also been, we've been seeing a lot of really great viewership on YouTube. So if you're a business owner right now, and I know what it's like, TikTok wants you to post 7 times a day. Instagram wants you to do 6 stories in a post in feed every day. YouTube wants you to put, like, everybody wants you to, go into their platform and make them feel special, right? In order to get the views, in order to get the likes and engagement that you want to really grow your business organically. And that's really where social media comes in. You can't just pay for every single customer. You need a really strong organic channel. And so social media is very much that for us. But I would say, as advice, what we've been doing is just using social media tools to help us. So using one platform to post in multiple platforms at once. So for instance, like Hootsuite is a great program, right? You can use that to post on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Meta, all the Meta platforms all at the same time. So you're really optimizing your time, because that's the only way you can do it. You need content everywhere at all times at a high frequency. And so you really need to find tools that help optimize for that. So social is huge for us on that front. And then I would also say, don't sleep on email and SMS. Email is also a great way to get your content out to folks. It's not always a sales email. You need to have some really thoughtful content in your email strategy, and SMS too. You can gauge engagement from people on certain emails and SMSs to tell you how warm people are in terms of lead gen. So it really is, how do you make sure that you're posting content on all of your channels, all of the owned platforms that you have, whether it be social, email, LinkedIn, whatever, where your customers are, and just using it for any layer of marketing KPI. So whether it's brand awareness, you want to nurture them, or you want them to convert, all of these platforms play a role in that. So using, we only have 24 hours in a day. So if you're a one woman or one man show, those tools like Hootsuite and others will help you optimize, so you can make sure that you can spread across everything. Because these days you got to be everywhere at all times to make a dent.
100%. And I love that you touched on email and SMS, because I tell my clients all the time, if your Instagram gets shadow banned, it gets hacked, and
Yeah.
all your communication and clients were there, how
Yeah.
do you touch base with them? Like, and I call it offline communications, with
Yeah.
everything off of a social media platform.
Mhm.
You guys have to have that. You have to communicate that. So last question before I ask you how people can connect with you. Side note, do you guys ship to Canada?
We
Yeah.
sure do. We sure do.
Asking for myself.
Okay.
Asking for myself. What advice would you give an aspiring entrepreneur or entrepreneurs who are looking to start a purpose-driven brand? What's the one major thing you would give them?
You've got to be so dialed into your customer. Throw away your assumptions of what you think the problem is, what you think the solution is, and dive into real customer experiences. So many people go into new brands and new businesses and don't really do that level of customer research. You may look up, like, oh, who else is selling hair in this market, right? What are they offering? You're seeing how much they charge, which are all valid points for you to go into a market. But when you talk about a purpose-driven market, your customer has to be at the core, and you have to start talking to them before you have a product, before you try to sell them anything. You need to know if they even care about what you're building. And, sadly, sometimes we learn through that process that they don't actually care about what we're building. They don't actually want what we're trying to sell. But at least you're learning that before you've taken investment dollars, before you've sunk, 3 years of your life into it. So that's what I always say. Please, please, please start with, you've got a great idea. Cool. Now go find people who you think would buy it and learn about them. Ask them questions. Ask them, what is the worst part about their day or experience with this particular thing that you're trying to build or solve for. And then the other part is just making sure that when you actually build that product, that you are getting it to them in the channels that they want it. So there's, like we just talked about, social media. There's tons of platforms. You can do this strategy. You can open a store. You need to know where your customers are.
Yeah.
So whether they're like, for us, we know that, 50% of the purchasers who are buying hair extensions today are using Facebook and Instagram.
Mhm.
And then and still using ads, whether it's an organic post or not, they're going for ads too. So because we knew they were there, we had to build our core sort of presence there. But for someone else, maybe you're building some sort of other services business. Maybe you're building like an interior design business, and it's like, well, where are people making decisions about interior design? Probably Pinterest still,
Yeah.
even though people have gone off and done, Amazon storefronts, and TikTok has really great content, but people still go on Pinterest for discovery. So it may be worth your while building up your affiliate links and building up your content on that platform. But nonetheless, it's really understanding, who your customer is, what is their core problem, does your solution actually meet? And I'm talking about whether your solution is built or not. Like if you say, hey, Jackie, I'm building a wig company. Do you care if your lace tint matches? Like these are things you should, yeah, exactly, right? And so then you're like, okay, I've got that information. They care about this. And then you're going to the places that they are, because early on, you can't be on every platform, in every store. You're not going to get to Target in the first 6 months, if you have a retail product. So really being specific about where you can get the most traction with your customer early on. And then investors will want you, your friends will ask you to invest, you may be able to run it completely bootstrapped. But those are the things that I would recommend to any entrepreneur trying to build a purpose-driven brand today.
This was a whole masterclass. You gave what we needed, because everything you said, like I'm just here, just like yes, I just can't disagree. Everything you said makes sense. I tell people all the time. I ask my clients all the time, "Why do you follow me? What is it that you want to know from me?" And they will tell me. And I can tell you right now, I can't sell ebooks. If I put out, "Hey guys, I have a little ebook," no one is buying it from me. I don't get no clicks, anything. But the minute I go on live and I start talking about
Mm.
and brand activation, my emails are full of inquiries. So I've learned now what my audience wants. And I tell
Yep.
people all the time, you think you know what your audience wants, you have no idea.
Yeah, you got to ask them. You got to talk to them. You got to ask them.
And you don't like, I love that you said you don't need to be on every platform. And every platform has its own language. You have
Yeah.
to learn LinkedIn's language. You have to learn TikTok's language, because what you post on Instagram, you have to siphon it to match TikTok. You have to then cut it again to match
Yep.
YouTube. You have to know the language of these platforms and what makes sense. So I am so grateful for this conversation. I mean, I felt like I could talk to you for 7 hours. We don't have that time because I know you're busy, but how
Yeah,
can people connect with you? How can they follow Parfait? How can they order the wigs? Like, how
yeah.
can you get more of you and the brand?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow Parfait on all social platforms at my.parfait, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. You'll find us there at my.parfait. You can find my personal social where I'm always dropping new wig looks. I'm the CMO and like product developer. So I'm always showing you first looks on new colors, new cuts, new styles. So it's a great place for that. And just like helpful tips. So that's at Simone Kendle on Instagram. And then our YouTube, we're also posting more and more on YouTube. And I would say that's the really good place to just like learn about how just run the gamut about what wigs are, how they work, what's different about our wigs. And then obviously you all can shop Parfait wigs at myparfait.com. There's two ways that you can shop wigs. You can select a wig that we've curated and it's already done. And you just say, yes, I want this, take your 4 selfies and you're good to go. Or you can build your own. So you can decide what color, what length, what texture, what cut, what styling. It's a really, really awesome experience. So if you have time, definitely go check it out. And if you need any help, on our website, that's where you can book your virtual consultation with a stylist at any time. We also have a chat feature there. So we're here to help you. So myparfait.com has all the things.
I love it. Y'all go to myparfait.com. Even if you just want to see what style would look good on you, see what's looking well, because sometimes you don't want to go to the weave store all the time and try on all the wigs.
Right.
The will look and actually look at yourself from another perspective, not in a mirror, from an actual photo looking back. I am so grateful for you, Simone. Thank you for dropping this this is a masterclass. I'm going to tell everybody this is a masterclass. For telling us about Parfait. Thank you for letting us know about yourself. And thank you for just sharing your wisdom and knowledge. So we're so grateful to have you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jackie. Bye, everyone.